All right, everyone, welcome back for our Week 10 gaming podcast, where we last week put up the best number of the year so far, 7.95 units, 15 and 8, 13 and 7 on the original picks, and then we had 2-0 for 1 in the touchdown parlay. So as far as units are concerned, our highest week of the year. We had a 6-game win or 6-week green streak. It went to the red, and that was a great bounce back for us. So with that, Stone is still our leader. He has an unreasonable percentage, and his lead is growing. 41 and 22 on the year with 17 positive units. Jamie is 34 and 32, and he's still in the positive units by a little bit. And then I'm bringing up the rear there, 22 and 27, which I got a chance to check. Wasn't nearly as bad as I did last year, so I'm okay with it. I'm in a happy place. But I'll turn it over to Stone to get us started, as he is our leader.
Yep. Like Connor said, I had a bad week the week before, but this week bounced back with the 7-1 in the game and player picks. Hopefully I can string 2 weeks together this week and extend the lead. 41 and 22 is pretty good, but just want to maintain that.
Yeah, it's been a pretty remarkable season. That's a high percentage. I'm going to do a little bit of in-depth stats for next week, because after this week, we'll be halfway through our season. So hopefully get more feedback on that. But Jamie's still right in this thing. He's kind of been in the positive all season, and so I'll turn it over to him.
Yeah, if I could get my game props going, this could be an actual competition. It seems that me and Stone, however, have switched positions from last year. Stone's clearly in the lead. So right now I'm playing catch up. And unfortunately, part of that catch up is I hoping his players also do bad, because if he keeps on winning, I just can't catch up. So unfortunately, I have to bet against some of his props. And he stole a little bit of my strategy, which we'll just gloss over that. But so that's where we're at. I gotta make up some ground. Might
Yeah,
have to go with some longer picks.
I will say I do pick running backs, but I like to spread out a little bit. I'm not going as running back heavy as you, and I'm still having success.
That's
So
true. That's true.
I
Yep.
will say
These
that. Um,
these are facts.
And I will say you're right behind me, and you have more wins in player picks. It's just
Yeah.
your game picks are really letting you down.
Yeah, I need to copy Connor for my game picks. Apparently,
Well,
this is it's a week of change. Might consider some other strategies here.
I mean, we're getting into the first week in November, so things should start playing themselves out a little bit here. A lot of games in a short period of time with Thanksgiving coming up. So, um, kind of an interesting kind of little story I have written down here. So, I thought that I was going to easily hit the first future of the season. Commanders over 6.5, and Jamie was going to take the first L on the future side, right? And that did happen. But before that happened, Derrick Henry just broke the ceiling on 1,000 yards in the game last week, and Jamie actually hit the first future bet of the season, and I wasn't tracking that until yesterday when I got a chance to go back through. Now those wins are not in our total yet. I'll do that at the end of the season, so we'll know heading into the playoffs kind of what the wins and losses were. But um, I was taken back by the fact that I did not hit the first future, and Jamie had already locked that one in. So I thought that was a funny little thing.
Look,
Um,
I had the first win and I have the first loss on futures. So
yeah, there you go. There we
Yeah,
go. So
I think I had Saints under 7.5, and after week two, I was ready to throw that one in the trash. But
you also you
I think I'm
almost
gonna win
gave
that.
you a win. I almost gave you a win for one. You have Richardson
Oh
under
yeah, that one's
3,200
locked. That one's
yards.
locked
It's
in
like
too.
I felt like that was a lock unless something crazy would happen. But
mm,
um, I just thought that was a fun little segue into our game picks. So Stone 7-1 last week, 3-0 on this side. He'll have 4 picks. I was 2-1 on this side, so I have 4 picks. Yeah, and then Jamie was 1-1. Still stuck at 2 picks. You got to get 2-0 to move to 3, but certainly heading in the right direction for that. So I'll pass it over to Stone for his first pick of the week.
All right, so Connor's my main competition in this one right now, and I gotta go with the pick I think he would 100% be taking. He's been riding him all season. I stole it last week, and I'm gonna steal it this week. Atlanta minus 3.5 at minus 108.
Man, I can't believe you did that. All right.
You should have seen
Well,
it coming.
that's
But
no. I probably should have seen it coming. Let me. I don't have much in my notes for this. Minus 108 at 3.5. When I looked at it this morning, I think it hadn't moved to 4, but it was a little bit. I think it was juicier than this. And Atlanta -4 is even money. So I was going to pick this as my first pick, but I was going to go -4 on it. So
the
I'll just
new
leave that.
coach bounce back kind of scares me a little bit if the team actually had anyone that was healthy, and they don't. So and they just traded away their best cornerback. So I got to take
Cool.
this.
Yeah, I like this pick. I have them to win the division, and things are starting to trend in the right direction for that. So I'll leave it there. Now, I pick these every single week, and I'm not going to stop. It's one of the only things I have a winning record on, even if it's only by a game. And I'm going to take the Detroit Houston over 48.5. I thought 48 was pretty low. I was expecting this to be like the Ravens and the Thursday night game. It'd be in the 50s, 51, 52. I thought 48.5 wasn't too bad. I know Houston hasn't been, the juggernaut on offense that we thought with some of their players being injured, but Detroit gives up points and they have no problem scoring. So I'm taking that as my first pick.
So just a segue on that one, I'll go with my first pick. I'm going to go with the Lions to cover 3.5 in that same game. That is at -115. I think a lot of this under is the Texans are very injured. CJ is not as explosive as last year. Right now, it's on the fence whether or not Nico Collins is going to come back for this game. So if he doesn't, I think the Lions handle this pretty easily, and they got me the win last week. So I'm going to ride the hot hand, basically.
What I've learned this season is that you got to ride some of your W's. I've done that. Player picks and game picks. So
I flipped back and I was like, I feel like you picked these guys last week.
I did. I covered 4 last week, so 3.5 right there.
My next pick, besides the first pick, I don't have like a ton of picks. Picking game picks was really hard for me this week, especially since I had 4 picks. But this is my second favorite. San Francisco and Tampa Bay over 50.5 at -108. San Francisco's defense hasn't looked super great. Tampa Bay's defense isn't super great. 2 mediocre defenses this season. Baker's been looking amazing all season. Christian McCaffrey's coming back. Tampa Bay's at home. Hopefully there's a lot of fireworks.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, the Tampa Bay defense is Swiss cheese. Yeah. I seriously looked at Sam Bradford's over 3 TDs, I think, because Sam Bradford. What am I saying?
But over
no, Sam Brad. But over the 3 TDs for the QB facing him.
Oh, for Baker? Oh no, you mean for?
I got
Brock
all these
Purdy.
names.
I got all the names.
All right. Yeah, I think it was plus 240 to get that. So, some juice. Yeah, but it could happen.
I need some juice on my own card. I got to get some juice going. All right. I guess that pivots it back to me. And my next pick was Atlanta -4. So I'm going to do some. These are the other ones I have here I don't love so much. I'm going to do something that you guys definitely aren't going to see coming here. And I was going to save it to the end, but I'm going to make it happen here. Mike Tomlin, 12-3, straight up, coming off a bye. And then on top of that, I think it's time for the Commanders to. This is the toughest defense they're going to play. I'm going to take Pittsburgh money line. That's it, plus 120. So I was going to save it to the end. But I'm just going to take it here because my Atlanta -4 was sniped from me. So that's what I got.
I mean, I will go head-to-head to you on this. I'm not going to take the Washington money line, but I'll do Washington to cover 2.5.
Yep.
At -118.
I heard something where the Steelers play Lamar Jackson twice a year for the past 5 years, right? If
Hmm.
they if any defense is going to know how to deal with Jaden Daniels' similar play style, it'll probably be the Steelers, right? And I like the Pittsburgh side of this more than Washington. Just I feel
See,
like
when I
I
think
think.
of that, I don't think they play the same way at all. Like they have designed
Mhm.
runs for Lamar, and early on in the season we had design runs for Jaden, but they've gotten away from that. I mean, and now if it's a design run for Jaden, it's like a 3 yard get out of bounds. Like Lamar is taking a sweep straight up the middle of the field. You saw that last night. Like he's a lot more, I guess, stable. He's a little thicker than Jaden, so I think it is definitely different. I think Jaden passes the ball better than he does. I mean, so
maybe not this season.
we'll see.
That's what I was gonna say. I think Jaden's accuracy rating is like 73, 74, or maybe that's his completion percentage. I might be messing that up, but um,
I
incredibly
also,
accurate. I just don't think we played a defense like that yet.
yeah,
And
I
seeing what
we're
they did to the Falcons and some of these other teams throughout the season, when I got a chance to watch the Steelers, I'm like, money line on a defense like that is not the worst thing. I also had, well, I'll save that for later.
I also refuse to believe that Russell Wilson can maintain this level.
I agree.
Because he dropped off, and he might look a little good mirage for these last 2 games. One of them was against the freaking Giants. So we'll see.
Well, if he keeps it going for one more week after a bye week, that would make sense. I certainly don't see this in December. I certainly don't see this. Yeah. Anyway, that'll be a fun game to watch. It pains me not to pick the Commanders, but
Right
that's
after they
where we're
got
at.
the future for you. Wow.
They got the future for me, and then not for this
Throw them
podcast,
away.
but
They're done.
you could. I took all the money I got on that future in real life, and I put it on Commanders to win the division, which is plus 115. Ride it. You want to ride this team. This is a ticket you want to have.
I do want
All
to
right,
bring
I'm just
up
gonna
how
put.
this division, the Commanders are going all in, getting Marshawn Lattimore, and
Mhm.
the Cowboys are also going all in on Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah.
completely different perspectives. Going all in on a receiver when Dak is probably going to miss the rest of the year. I don't know
And
what they're
Jonathan
doing.
Mingo, okay, I mean, going all in on a receiver is one thing. Going all in on Jonathan Mingo, I mean, like,
Yeah,
they had their chances to get a lot of different dudes earlier in the year. With Devontae, you got all sorts of guys that were out there, and then you settle for
You got that Jonathan Mingo
Mingo.
action out there.
that might be worthless. Just saying.
It's definitely not worth what I. Never mind. Let's get back to the pick. I got us distracted. Let's get back to the picks. Jamie's locked in for the games. Stone, you got 2 more picks, and me and you'll go back and forth for
All
our
right.
last 2.
Going with a team that I think is really good against a bad defense. Buffalo over 25.5 at minus 108. I think they'll be able to score points against the Colts. And I think Josh Allen. Josh Allen's kind of had a quiet year, but I think he'll have a good game this week in 25.5. I like that.
Let me check one thing. It wasn't on the top of my board here, and then I'm gonna pick it.
Speaking of coming
Okay,
down to
so
earth,
yeah, so I'm going to. I think this team's getting hot. I think that my future for them to make the playoffs is still intact, even if just barely by a thread. They had to win last week to make this happen, and they pulled out a close one. And so I'm going to take LA Rams money line. That's at minus 120. The spread on that is -1. I was like, I'm not taking -1. I'm just going to take the money line there. So minus 120, maybe a little bit chalky. I think we've had some 130s on the board this year, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. They play the Miami Dolphins, and as much as the Rams defense really isn't that good, I think that they're hitting their stride on offense, and I think they got a lot of momentum heading in there at home.
yeah, talk about teams to watch for their division.
Mm-hmm.
They're surging. They're getting all their guys back. The 49ers certainly haven't looked the best.
All right. For my final pick, this might seem a little crazy, and I think Connor brought this up last podcast or the one before, but we have all lost against bets on betting on the Chiefs.
I think it's 0-6 or 0-7 now.
I'm gonna
Yes.
break the streak, and I'm gonna take
Okay.
Kansas City minus 7.5 at minus 110. I think Broncos coming off getting boat raced by the Ravens. Um, Bo Nix against the best defense in the league away from home at Arrowhead. Division game. I think Kansas City easily wins by a couple touchdowns.
I hope we go 0 for whatever, and then they win the Super Bowl. Talk about a future that's in there. I mean, they are 8-0, baby.
Yeah,
Surging ahead.
That's actually one to kind of have in the notes there. So, all right, I'm torn between two here, and you guys are gonna probably hate this pick, but I'm gonna take New England +6 against the Bears. That's at minus 110. I watched them play Arizona last week, the Bears that is, and I thought I saw a team that quit, a team that didn't believe in their coach, a team that could not bounce back from that Hail Mary loss, a team that's in shambles. I also feel like I saw a rookie quarterback that you watch Jaden Daniels. Again, he's got 76%, 73% accuracy rating. And you watch, Caleb Williams, and he seems to just miss balls, miss passes, not make the right play. His offensive line doesn't help him out. They rarely have the lead where they can run, kind of lean on their run game. And I think if New England could kind of shut them down at the beginning of the game, you're kind of rolling into the second half with the lead +6, and this is gonna cover easy. So, still upset that Atlanta -4, -3.5 gone, but I'm gonna take that as backup.
Yeah, I mean, just to add in, when you say it seems like he's missing, it doesn't seem like he's leading like inaccurate throws to his receivers by like a significant margin. I think for Keenan Allen, he was missing him on like 20% of his routes. Like when he throws it, it's not an accurate pass at all. So it doesn't seem like it. He is very.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I watched him play. I probably watched 5 Bears games. A good friend from my friend at work, he's a big Bears fan, and I've watched him, kind of compared him to Jaden, and it's been all season. I'm sorry, Stone. What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna say, yeah, if you hit this line, they're firing their coach. I feel like. Well, maybe not if they win the game, but if they lose this game, I think their coach is getting fired after this, surely.
I saw this other kind of interesting, go back to the ownership of the Bears kind of situation where this is like the 4th time in a row where they've kept a coach 1 year longer than they probably should have, drafted a quarterback, and then fired the head coach the next year when it didn't work out, instead of starting fresh on both sides. I just thought that was an interesting kind of stat to have. So,
as I'm thinking about this too, I am a little worried about New England. There is a large group of teams right now chunked up at 2-7. So if you're not going to make the playoffs, like this week, next week, this is where we're going to start seeing some tanking, because if you're with all those other teams, to get the shot at the best pick, you got to lose. So I'm a little worried about that for New England.
I feel like that's kind of true, but they also want to see what they have in Drake May. So I think they're.
Well, they can play Drake May, but they don't have to win.
I know, but I feel like they're gonna try and like their best. They're not gonna. I mean, I don't think any team tanks on purpose, but I think they're still fighting to try and see what they have for the future.
Yeah, I like it. I think I just watched a lot of Bears. That's where I'm at. I think 6 is fair, but again, that was my backup. Everybody should ride Stone's Atlanta -3.5 instead. All right, let's pivot over to the player props. Stone and Jamie are going to have 6 picks on this side. Both had winning records last week. So it'll be Stone first, Jamie second. I'll go third on this. I have 2 picks. I've only had more than 2 picks once this season, and I went 0-3 on those picks. So with that, I would just pass it over to you guys. Grab the baby and take it away.
Is it me first?
The
Or
brutal
James
stat.
first?
It's you first, Stone.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
you still have more units.
I feel like I have to start with a running back, as usual, and I'm gonna go with a running back on a good team. Kind of correlate with one of my game
Oh,
picks, James Cook over 64.5 at minus
yeah.
125. Little chalky, but Colts D isn't great, and I think
So I
he'll.
looked at this. Did you have James Cook last week?
I did, and I won. I
Did
think
he?
I had it the week before too. Maybe. Let me check actually.
64 was a lot. When I looked at his last 10 games, I think he had 44 last week.
I didn't have him
Uh,
last week, but I had him the week before and won.
and it hit. Okay, last week he would not have hit.
Yeah.
So that's why I stayed away. But I definitely looked at this one because the Colts run D is atrocious. Literally second to worst, I think. So definitely looked at it. All right, so for my first pick, I looked at Saquon's line, and it's outrageous because the Cowboys' rush D is the softest D out there for rushing. So I'm going to go instead with his longest rush, over 17.5 yards, longest rush at minus 110. Saquon is actually first in runs over 20 yards. He's fifth in runs over 10 yards, fifth in yards after contact. The concern here was that they might just destroy the Cowboys, especially with the backup QB in, and Saquon just might not have enough attempts for that 90 yards. So I wanted to go with something different. Get the longest rush out there. Maybe he pops a big one. They throw a couple touchdowns, and then he rests for the entire second half.
Yeah, I mean, he can have a big play any moment. This dude's back hurdling over people. Most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. I've had him on my fantasy team since he was a rookie. It's a keeper league, and his
Oh.
career was just absolutely wasted by the Giants. And
Yeah.
the first
That
season he's
rookie
on a
year,
good team.
Yeah, you had a good time.
We still had Eli, but now on the Eagles, he's just a great player, just absolutely dominating.
Dominating. Love that play last week. I think he hit all of his overs in the first half or the first play of the second
Yeah,
half. But
I watched that probably 10,000 times.
yeah,
So
I think
crazy.
that's could be one of the highlights of the year. Like when you look back on best plays of the year.
Yeah,
You know,
on a 14-yard catch. I think that was the he hit the over on the receptions too for my line.
yeah, that was one of our best bets last week. With as far as units were concerned, I think that was Jamie's pick, 2.5 receptions.
That was
No,
mine.
yeah,
That was
that
mine.
was
I don't-
Stone. Okay,
yeah, that wasn't me.
all right, whatever. I can't remember. All right,
It's okay. It's a lot of stuff flying around here.
I have to move. I have to change my strategy again. Got to switch it up. And so I did what any smart person would do, any analyst would do. I went back and I said, what did I do well on last year? Maybe we can start to hit the nothing. Yeah. There was one category that I had a positive record on. All right. And so I'm
Narrowed
going
it
to
down.
go. Yeah. And so I'm going to go with this category this week. And I'm going to start off with Jared Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And that is at minus
Chalky?
115.
Oh, not chalky. Okay.
No, not super chalky here. The next one, I'm split between two of the next ones. One of the next ones is very chalky, but I think it's not that. The reason I think it's kind of low is because they have two great running backs and they have no problem getting in the end zone when they give the ball to them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like this because I looked at those running backs, and I think Houston has a pretty good rush D. They don't allow a whole lot of run touchdowns, so I think this is a great pick.
Sweet.
I also like it. It's been a while since I haven't hated one of your picks.
This is the only subcategory that I was positive on last year for player props, which was quarterback touchdowns and quarterback yards was 50-50, but
what were you 3-2 or something?
Yeah, 5-4 and then 3-3 or something. All right, Stone, I'll pass it back to you for your second pick.
All right, I'm gonna stick the trend of running backs this week against a bad defense. Breece Hall over 68.5 rushing yards at minus 110. I think Cardinals are bottom 10 for rush yards given up, and I think Breece Hall, ever since they switched coaching staffs, I feel like they've been giving him the ball more, and I think he's probably him or Garrett Wilson are the best players on that team, offensive players. So they just give your best player the ball, and good things will happen.
This was one I did not look at. So, I feel like I picked someone against the Cardinals last week, and did I pick DeAndre Swift?
Swift has been a podcast favorite this
He
year.
hit 51. Yeah, I think I picked DeAndre Swift last week, and he did not make the yardage. But I do like the matchup versus the Cardinals, so I will, do this into Garrett Wilson's line. Segue this into Garrett Wilson's line. I have him at 70.5 receiving yards at -115. The last 5 weeks, he's averaging 12 targets and 94 yards a game. The Cardinals allow the 7th most yards to receivers, and I just think the addition of the other wide receiver, he can really opens up stuff for Garrett Wilson. Devontae.
That catch he had last week was pretty nuts too.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting pivot from Jamie. I do have a stat on this. Jamie's 0-2 on wide receivers this year.
Make sure you tell him that after he makes the pick.
Yeah, right. He didn't know I was picking it. Next time I'm going to be like, hey, what's my stats on this before I pick? Okay.
I got smart with it. I started to pull up our databases on my other screen, so maybe I'll have one here for Stone in a second too. But anyway, I'm actually looking forward to that game. I think both of those teams really kind of need to win, heading in the right direction. If they want to make the playoffs, and I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game. Arizona's hot. Jets are hopefully getting it going in the right direction. So, with that, I'm going to take. It's a little chalky, but I'm going to take my next pick in the same category, and I'm going to ride off of something that I got sniped for before. I'm going to take Kirk Cousins over 1.5 passing touchdowns, and that is at -130. We had a couple -130s last week, so I don't mind it too much.
You just need to, let's be honest.
You need to get
whenever you're just to be totally transparent about it, on the player prop side, I am 4-15 -13 units. Last week, I picked what I thought were two pretty safe bets. They were -120, -130. Lost them both. So there are no guarantees here.
I think last week you were chasing the national tight end day the week
One
after.
week too late. Oh yeah.
You were chasing that for sure.
Very painful for me. And I was like trying to ride. Jamie said something last week, kind of stuck with me. He said recency bias. I said, you know what? Be right about. Okay. All right. I'm going to pass it back to Stone. This is pretty much you guys going back and forth for the next 8 picks. So I'll go mute unless I hear something crazy. But go ahead.
All right. I'm going to go 3 running backs in a row. This one's a little chalky as well. I don't love it. But Tyrone Tracy in the Germany game over 74.5 rushing yards at -125. Kind of a crazy line for a dude that was unheard of before the season started, but he's really came out, shown that he is better than Devin Singletary. They've been giving him the ball a ton. The Panthers they give out the most rushing yards in the league, so I think he gets it this week.
Yep, one I looked at didn't take. Connor, it looks like you got 75.4 on there instead of 74.5.
Nice.
But yeah, the Giants' offense last week was just run. Daniel Jones did not have a passing yard in that first half.
And that's how they win games, by the way.
They want to limit his passing. So definitely, Tracy will at least have enough attempts to hit this line, and that's all you can ask. Is give him the opportunity, and then from there, it's the worst defense. So I like the pick. It's a good thought selection.
Just an interesting stat here from the just trends here. Jamie and Stone are both 66.6% on picking running backs. Jamie is 20-10, and Stone is 10-5 on the running back rushing yard, just rushing yard. So same percentage. Kind of goes into this heated battle we've been having between the two. And Stone has picked 3 to start the week. All right. That's it. That's all I got to say about that.
think he's running out of his running back picks. But for me, going back to your Washington Commanders Steelers game, I'm going to take Najee's over. Not over. Let's see here. 66.5 rushing yards. Excuse me. At -120.
I would have taken this.
Yeah.
I didn't already have two chalky picks, but
Yeah, we have a 25th ranked Rundy. The philosophy is very much bend, do not break. So,
yep, this was on my list. I was gonna take that if any of those other two picks I had were taken. They were already -125. But yes, Jamie is right. I have run out of running backs for now, at least. But I've got two chalky picks up there, so I'm gonna kind of counteract it. I'm sure Connor has stats on this, but I've been pretty good on sacks this year. So I'm gonna take Montez Sweat over 0.25 sacks at even +100. The Patriots have given up the second most sacks in the league. Montez Sweat, good defense, good player. I think he gets at least a half sack, right? Surely.
surely. One would hope. I mean, yeah, like, I would love to hear Connor's little stats if he got one on your sack props.
2-0.
2-0, look at that.
Oh, great.
Plus
Undefeated.
2.05 units and trending in the right direction. So now I just erased half of your database because I was typing in the wrong terminal, but I'll fix it.
no.
Control-Z.
Yeah, Control-Z.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to go back to the same Najee well. I think he's going to get 66.5 rushes. I think he's going to get over 15 rush attempts. It's over 15.5 rush attempts, and that's at -110. So I saw this one, and I am clearly not in the know about something. Because even with Jalen Warren back, he's had like close to 20 attempts a game the last couple games. So I'm just a little confused, especially with our defense being not great against the run. The only thing I can think of is that maybe we get ahead and they think the Steelers have to throw a lot, but I don't see that happening either. So I'm definitely missing something here.
Jamie, 2-0 on carries 2-0 on carry bets this season with 2 units. And last week I rode that to I think you had Kamara over carries, and he hit that in the first half. So we'll keep an eye on this one. All right, we'll pass it back to Stone.
All right. I have a lot of picks on here. I'm gonna go back to running backs. I'm gonna go Bucky Irving over 33.5 rushing yards at -115. I think that's a very low number. I think Jamie's got him a few times this season. He's hit that line. So I'm gonna take this, and I think especially with the over/under being like 50.5, it just takes one play too with such a low line.
Yeah, I love my Bucky, but I figured by now he would have ascended to that RB1 status, and they for whatever reason they love Richard White. I don't know why, but I don't like it. Or else I would have rode Bucky a little bit more this season. I got him on my fantasy team. It's not great.
They had a weird balance last week where I think one got 24 and the other one got 20. Now it was a weird game with, primetime game with Baltimore, lots of scoring, lots of passing, but yeah, it seems like there's a handicap going on there. But all right.
So going into my pick, this is why I kind of oohed on the New England pick. Is I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift. I know he lost me this last week, but I'm feeling a bounce back week for him at 71.5 rushing yards at -115. I know you talked about the Bears being in a little bit disarray, but New England has given up 126, 80, 118, 102, 86, and 123 to RB1s the last 6 weeks. And one of those, the 86 week, the RB2 had 80. They're bleeding yards to running backs. And that's one area that Caleb Williams can't beat. inaccurate in. So
Did you have Pollard last week on this matchup?
no,
Did we
no,
have him?
I
Or was
didn't
that
have
the week
Pollard.
before? Okay, I was gonna
Yeah, it was
say
the week
maybe
before.
this is a theme I missed, but nope, I missed it.
All right. Keeping with
Should be
the
a
running
thing.
back theme, I'm going to take Tyler Algier over 37.5 at -115. Saints defense has been giving up a ton of rushing yards, and I think as much as everyone hates it, Tyler Algier gets a ton of carries. I think that trend is going to continue.
Yeah, definitely another thing I don't understand, but yeah, he definitely gets those carries.
And he gets them during the
Fourth quarter.
times when you would just be like, "What the hell is going
Why?
on?
Where's Bijan? Yeah,
Where's your
exactly.
number one best player?"
First round draft pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, just things normal people think of, but it's the reason why I'm not a coach, Connor.
Well, if I was a coach, all my players would be injured because I'd be like, "You gotta get that over. You gotta get out there."
You would be like almost immediately suspended.
Yeah, just investigated.
Oh
Why
man,
did they
that's
trot him
funny.
back out there for one more yard and then
Why-
take him out?
Exactly.
Why they're up 20 in the fourth? Why are they going for more touchdowns? Trying to hit the over or something?
All right, Jamie, close us out here for player props.
For my next prop, I'm going to go with Aaron Jones over 69.5 rushing yards at -115. The last 3 games, the Jaguars have given up 150 rush yards on average. Mac Jones is going to be their QB this week. It's just, it's not going to be good. I think it's going to be a blowout. And in blowouts, which they have 2 of, Aaron Jones has been averaging over 90 yards in those 2 games.
Yeah, I like what Aaron Jones is doing this year for Minnesota. Minnesota's a fun team. That Monday night game was nice. All right, I think that closes us out here for the player side. So we got one last thing to make picks on, and that is our touchdown parlay. So last week we had some pretty serious legs hit. We had Taysom Hill plus 180, Cade Otton plus 205, and then Cooper Kupp, who's got plenty of targets, got a lot of stuff, could not get in the end zone. So anyway, we didn't hit the parlay, but 2 out of 3, plus 3.8 units is pretty remarkable as far as picks are concerned. So we added those to our total, and with that, I'll let Jamie go first since he hit his last week.
What's the most units, baby?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's actually the most units in the year so far. So that's pretty good.
Gotta feed Cade, yeah. That was their basically the only option. I'm gonna go to a guy that was an absolute touchdown machine last year and has not gotten it going yet. Raheem Mostert at plus 120.
Haven't you been riding the A-chain for a while?
A-chain on the rushes, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
on his
okay.
yards. But once they get to the goal line, they want to
Quickly.
give it to Mostert. It's just they haven't got to the goal line a bunch. I think they're getting it going again with Tua. Hopefully he stays healthy.
True. All right, Stone.
Mostert's also injured earlier.
I looked at McCaffrey's line. I was like, oh, first week back, he'll probably have a lowest number of the year for touchdowns for him, and it's at -230. And I was like, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Wow.
So I'm gonna go with a player who's due a touchdown. He's been really quiet this year. Same team as Mostert. Tyreek Hill at plus 120.
Ooh. I feel like this is not a good sign for me.
Take a Dolphin. We're just going to go all in, Connor. Come
Wait
on.
a second. No,
Take A-chain.
I got the Rams money line, and I got touchdown parlays going on the. No, I'm not going in that direction. I'm going to go against the worst defense in the league, and it kind of attaches to one of the bets we just made. I'm going to pick Tracy from the Giants -110. We have been using up running backs at an unreasonable pace, and I've noticed that we're going to have a hard time here. We've got to move it forward.
I'm sure wide receivers.
Yeah, we're going to hit some wide receivers.
Pivot.
I'm sure we're going to hit some tight ends, but we're about halfway through, and we got a lot of running backs knocked out. And so I wanted to grab this one before that happens. -110 is a little soft for what you'd like on a touchdown bet. I was worried someone was going to go with, like Stone was saying, Christian McCaffrey. So I had some other ones like in the same game. Neighbors is plus 145, but Daniel Jones had like 6 yards in the first half passing. I was like, I don't like that. I'll go with Tracy for now.
Yeah,
Does
I just
anybody
want to
have anything?
say, last year didn't
Yeah.
we start the touchdown parlay like not from the first week? We started later on, right? I think so.
We didn't count those as part of our record, but we did have the graveyard since week 1.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that what you're?
Yeah, I was just...
Yeah, we had the graveyard from week 1, but we didn't count them against our picks. But I did put them in the database.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's gonna get real tight once we're in the playoffs and there's only a certain amount of teams that we can pick touchdowns from, and it's gonna get ugly at some
Yeah,
point.
Might have to look at that in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it worked out last year, but
Hey, the Lions have a lot of offensive linemen that could catch a touchdown.
catch a touchdown at like plus 2,000 or something.
Yeah, it actually looks like we didn't reuse anybody last year.
I wonder how much a live Noah Brown touchdown would have been on that Hail Mary.
Oh yeah,
Like plus $1 million.
Probably couldn't even lay it. The odds are so bad. Just for perspective, I guess it's a good thing. But we were 29-31 on our touchdown picks last year, and right now we are 16-11. So, doing good for the viewers on that category. But I don't really have anything else. I appreciate everyone. I know this is probably a long episode. I had a lot of fun with it. I have fun with it every week. So thanks for joining us, and I'll see everyone next week.